Dr. Eldon Dahl, welcome back to the podcast. I am delighted to have you. Sun is shining
Yes.
midweek, almost the weekend. What else
Yeah.
could I ask for?
No, it's beautiful in Alberta to be sunny and plus 9 or 10.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
really
we
makes a
just,
difference, like in regards to health, you really feel better when the sun is out.
oh, it's a game changer.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it is a big game changer, and you get your free vitamin D.
and fresh air and what, because
Yeah,
like for me, for sure, I have a treadmill in my house and I do go to the gym, but I'm more inclined to walk outside when the sun is out and it's a little bit warmer. So
yeah, you just have to avoid the chemtrails.
we'll do another conversation on that another day because we have
Yeah.
priorities here. So thank you for coming back. For our followers that don't know or don't haven't been introduced to you yet, you were on the podcast a year ago. We had a great conversation about hormones. I was admiring your lovely Christmas jumper at the time. Dr. Eldon Dahl he's a naturopath and he is founder and CEO of Life Choice Supplements. And he is creator of some awesome therapeutic supplements, which is why he's back on the podcast today. Many of you will know that I'm a huge fan of Life Choice's thyroidine, and you have Thyromoto as well, but really like the thyroidine, which is thyroid gland, and I use it a lot with my clients because thyroid supplements, which are blends of different nutrients and minerals, when it comes to the thyroid, they'll only get you so far. Sometimes you need some sort of a gland in there to go directly to the thyroid. So, can you talk to me, my followers, about thyroidine, why you created it, and why is your thyroid gland the only glandular I can find over the counter here in Calgary, Airdrie, surrounding areas?
Well, that's an interesting question, and it's a fascinating discussion. Um, why did I create Thyrodyne? Um, is because of the need. I've seen that in the United States, the number one prescription, and it has been for several years, is Synthroid, where they will prescribe 125 million different prescriptions per year for that one drug.
Mm,
And so it's uh, it's uh, it's a synthetic um, it's a synthetic chemical version of a T4, and then it has to, when you take it into your body, it has to absorb and change into a T3, which is the most active form. And it just doesn't fit.
hmm
It just doesn't fit into the endocrine system. As soon as you change the hormone level structure, especially with a synthetic, then you're going to have side effects. And then you're going to have it fit within the endocrine system because it must, because everything that we do has to fit into the endocrine system. When you're trying to fit like pituitary, thyroid, adrenals, the ovaries, everything has to fit.
hmm
And if it doesn't, then it's just a band-aid effect. And so when I see that this was such a popular drug, and then I realized, and I've been studying thyroid conditions for probably close to 30 years now. And at that time, it was estimated that probably 70% of the global population were thyroid deficient.
mm,
And today I'd say it is closer to 100%. One way or another, people are living with a thyroid condition. They don't know it, and they're chalking it up to something else, fatigue, coldness, or so they have all these side effects with irregular heartbeat, hormonal imbalance, radiation toxicity. All these things are contributing, and they're living with those things. They don't know that their thyroid is out of balance, even though they may feel their thyroid and they feel that it feels normal, and They don't know that it's under attack. The thyroid is under attack today more than ever before. So this is where I'd say probably majority of the population are thyroid deficient. And women, of course, are 5 to 8 times more than men.
Mm-hmm.
So it really attacks women.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I seen glandular, I used to use glandular therapy in clinical practice, probably when I started out back in the early 90s. Glandular therapy is the oldest therapy in the world, one of the oldest therapies in the world. It's
Mm-hmm.
been out for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And we use that because it would resonate with our body. So it would, when we have a deficiency in our body, the animal tissue can resonate and give us what we need, our polypeptide enzymes and the other components that we're lacking. And it's pretty close to identical to the human. And when I seen on the marketplace that there were 32 licensed thyroid support products,
Mm-hmm.
and not a one of them had thyroid,
Mm-hmm.
I thought, now this is a big problem.
Or
You know,
here's an
because you
opportunity.
well, no, it wasn't. I wasn't looking for a fight because it was a fight.
Mm-hmm.
It was the greatest battle I've had to fight against Health Canada to bring this to the marketplace.
Yeah.
Uh, if you look at both stages of the process, where we had it licensed after 4 years, well, close to 4 years, and then Health Canada took it and recalled our license and said, "We're sorry, we didn't have the authority to give you the license." And I said, "If you don't have the authority, then who does have the authority?
Yeah.
You know, you're the ones, and you don't have the." Of course, it wasn't them. It was pharma saying, "You can't let this product on the market."
Mm-hmm.
And so they pulled it. Yeah, we lost, I don't know how many, hundreds of thousands of dollars over that because our whole inventory had to be, couldn't use it, couldn't sell it, had to recall. All our ads had to be all recalled. So I went back to Health Canada. I said, "Well, you owe me. You owe me now."
Yeah.
And of course, they don't like hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "What do I have to do to convince you to give me a license that you're not going to take away again?" And they said, "Well, we believe it's impossible journey for you to take. We do not believe that there is any thyroid gland out there that doesn't have chemical residue on the tissue."
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "And the amount of hormones in it are too high. So we believe it's an impossible task." And it's okay. What if I were to take it and run with it?
Yeah.
What if I satisfy what you want and I do that? And they said, "Well, if you do that, well, then we would consider giving you a license for thyroid, but hormone free."
Yeah.
So we had to actually create this product from scratch. So I couldn't go buy it from a raw material supplier, somebody that has glands, and say, "I would like to have this hormone." No, Health Canada wouldn't accept that. So I had to take a full gland with all the hormones in it. And then I had to extract those hormones without damaging the tissue of the thyroid
Mm-hmm.
and have no chemical residue and have the amount of thyroxine in there to a level that Health Canada would be satisfied with. And each stage had to be tested by a lab and sent to Health Canada for approval. And it took me just to be able to take that gland and take the hormones out without it going into mush. It took me just about 2 years of research. I was ready to give up, but I had some sort of epiphany
Mm-hmm.
from my days as a sommelier because in wine, how I used to make wine, and I got the idea how I could combine some of these things to take this out, the hormones out without damaging the tissue, and it worked.
Mm.
And then I finally found a way and had a lab to create this type uh, of a test, so we could test to the low level Health Canada wanted for the hormones,
Mm.
and it worked. And so we went back to Health Canada and we said, okay, now this is now close to 3.5 years. And it says, okay, we've done it. We've got it here. Here is what we have accomplished. You asked us to do this. Now I'd like to have the license for this product. And this is not so fast. And she says, all thyroid in the world is by prescription.
After all that.
Yeah, it's all prescription. And I said, well, this is hormone free. So it doesn't matter, hormone free or with hormones, it's by prescription. I said, well, then what do I have to do to have it as a natural health product? And she said, well, you'll have to sit down with the drug council. So it's a drug council where you have all drugs are part of a council that they bring on. So I had to sit down with this council and explain my position to take our thyroid product, Thyrodyne, and take it from prescription drug status and do a switch submission into a natural health product. Never done before.
Mm.
Never been done before. And so the first time they turned me down, said, no, we're not going to do it. So I went and got some more advice from some more brilliant people. And then I approached them again. And I had the ombudsman on and Health for Canada, and I had all people on my side and trying to do this. And at the end of the day, they got back to me and says, you've satisfied our needs that the product you created no longer matches our criterion, so we'll give you the license for thyroid, hormone free. So it's the first time ever, and we're the only company that has been able to do this, and all the evidence that we've created is protected by in a file from Health Canada. So it's all protected.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it can't be copied. So it is the only hormone-free thyroid gland using from bovine,
Mm-hmm.
from New Zealand, and it contains all the polypeptide enzymes. It contains all the amino acid profile. It's just a loaded capsule of goodness for the health of everybody in the world, but especially women. I was so happy when I got that. I just said, this can help pretty well every woman in the world. Mm-hmm. This one product that they take it on a daily basis, and it can help just regulate their thyroid gland. Once the thyroid gland is regulated, then it resonates through the rest of the body. And it's a natural form of iodine. The iodine is within the gland. So this is what people need. They need the iodine, not to take a prescription tablet for that. That doesn't work the same way. Mm-hmm. When it's in a food, it absorbs as a food. And that's why it's so very, very important. And so we created the Thyrodyne. And after a while, we've seen how many people were having autoimmune disorders. And then we realized that certain people with autoimmune disorders can't take any iodine. Mm-hmm. So Health Canada asked us, well, they wanted us to have to add iodine on top of the iodine that was in the gland, because that's what they want. When Health Canada wants, you got to do what they want. So we put some iodine, a small trace amount, just to satisfy them.
Mm.
But with the thyromoto, we have the same thyroid gland, hormone free, but we don't have any iodine. And so that is for those that can't take iodine that have autoimmune disorders, and there's a lot of those.
Oh, yeah. So when I know someone's asking right now, when you say it's hormone free, how does it work then? If it's
Well,
not containing the T1, T2, T3, T4, how's it working?
well, the gland works in such a way that it resonates within our gland.
Mhm.
So our thyroid gland, when the nutrients from thyroidine come into the body, it resonates with our gland and gives it the nutrients it needs so our thyroid gland can start to function properly again.
Mhm.
So it has what it needs to reset and rebalance the thyroid gland. And we have, well, I don't know how many thousands have got rid of synthroid using this product, and blood tests and the whole 9 yards, because that's what I recommend, of course.
Mhm.
And because it works.
Mhm.
Because it works. Uh, I designed it to work, not just to sell a product.
Yeah. 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 So I have a lot of clients that use this product again because it's the only glandular around. And I find it very, very effective. Hence why I recommend it to so many people. Because, like you said, for most people, Synthroid doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's a waste of time. But whatever Health Canada wants, that's what the doctors are prescribing. But with the thyroidine, what I found with my clients that within 3 days or so, they start to see an increase in their core temperature. They start to feel warmer and they start to have more energy. And then in some, we start to see those regular bowel movements happen again. And it really is a good product. Like I'm not just saying that to, as we say in Ireland, blow smoke up your ass. Like it really is a good product. And I agree with you. I always say that of all the people I speak to or come to me for help, about 80% of them have some sort of thyroid issue. But of course, they wouldn't be coming to me if they didn't have a health issue. But I agree with what you're saying. I think the majority of the population does have some low thyroid function, even if their labs are saying they're okay. You just need to look at people now. People are exhausted, they're
Yeah,
pale, their hair is falling out. You mentioned COVID, a lot of people struggling with recurring respiratory illnesses and
right.
and I'm sure you've read Dr. Broda Barnes' book, Hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
Um, it is at the, for lack of a better word, at the root cause of most conditions.
Well, I would call this a silent pandemic of our age. I mean, this is a real pandemic,
Hmm.
not the make believe one we went through. I mean, this is a real one, and this is affecting the world, especially women, and it's getting worse. And it's not getting better, and there's no improvement. And the drugs that are out there is not helping,
Hmm.
but the people are on it for life. As soon as you're prescribed Synthroid, you're on it for life. There's no escape plan here. You're on this for life. And then so the people are afraid to be off their Synthroid because, well, I've even heard some, if the world went down and we lost things and we didn't have drugs, I would take a gun and go into the into the pharmacy and take all the Synthroid. I heard some people say, my Lord.
Desperate times,
Oh
Dr.
yeah,
Dahl.
because I need it. I'll die without it.
It's crazy.
It
And
is.
even
That's
though it's not necessarily working for them, so their doctor just increases the dose. And as I
increases the
explain
dose.
to my clients, your doctor's going to increase your dose, and at the same time, he's praying to the good Lord above that you might on some level convert another little bit of that so that you can feel some difference.
Right.
But you may only be converting 5% of it. And that little bit is enough to make you feel good, but it's not enough to make you feel how you should feel.
No, 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 no. No, it's just like most drugs, right? It just gives you till the next fix.
Why do you think why do you think thyroid issues are getting worse and worse now?
Because the environmental toxins in the air, chemtrails that we see with all the amount of metals. We are with the jab, how many metals are in there? I mean,
Hmm.
Kennedy is fighting for his life today to get his seat,
I saw a
and
clip, yeah.
he brought all this out, and I'll bring it out in next week's newsletter
Hmm.
on that. But I think that we are polluted with forever chemicals.
Hmm.
We have a poor diet. We have well, I guess you got the spike proteins.
Hmm.
You got graphene oxide. Did you know that graphene oxide, when it's heated to a certain point, is 100 times stronger than steel? And this is what you have in your body.
Hmm.
It's part of the jab process.
Come
Uh,
on now, we're starting to sound like conspiracy theorists, Dr. Dahl.
well, I mean, it's coming out now.
I know it's
And I,
right there, and people are still saying, no, that's not true. Are you kidding me? Like, come
well, I
on.
mean, even Pfizer admitted it, and Health Canada admitted it too, that they actually put DNA in their jab. It's there. If on our newsletters we quote and give all the scientific information. So I'm not saying something that's you wouldn't say this a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
but it's coming. It's coming out in the open in Senate committees and stuff like this. So we know it's there.
yeah.
Um, but it's this is why we're getting it. Our body is becoming weaker. And
Mm.
then, of course, the thyroid is what gets attacked. The
Yeah.
thyroid gets attacked from radiation, and the radiation is coming from all different sources, cell phones, towers, and then, of course, the chemicals. And then, the proteins, the spike proteins, they gravitate to metals
Mm.
and metals in our body, and this is what caused the clumping. And then you get the nanoparticles start to clump, and this is what's actually happens. And this is the big, huge problem we have
Mhm.
is because of the toxins in our body that aren't leaving,
Mhm.
and they're making us sick.
Mhm. A lot of people don't know that heavy metals and these toxins I said this to a woman last night on a call and she was blown away. They don't know that heavy metals and toxins, and again, heavy metals are stored in fat cells.
Right?
So then, if you have extra body fat, but your thyroid's not functioning optimally to support your metabolism and detoxification and breaking down the body fat, it's a vicious cycle because you're storing more and more toxins, which are targeting the thyroid. And at some stage, you have to break the cycle.
You do, and it attaches to calcium, inorganic calcium. So it plaques the arteries, plaques the brain, plaques the heart. And so this is why even naturopaths aren't even giving now colloidal silver, because the silver, even the residue, we had a silver with no nanoparticles in it, but
Mhm.
the education process is just so great, and so we haven't carried it yet. We might bring it back, but metals is a big problem because they accumulate in our bodies. That's why we have claw coming out next week.
So, yeah, I have to ask, I have to ask. I know Cochrane is not on Calgary's water system, if I'm correct. What do you think about the fluoride now being reintroduced to our water in the next few weeks?
Well, that's tragic. It's going to bring down the IQ of the children for sure. And I've wrote several newsletters on it, the damaging effect of fluoride. We're going backwards. I mean, they're going to take it out of all the drinking water in the States, Trump already signed an order, and yet we're going to put it in ours.
So why? Why, if the states just banned it, why are we putting it in? We're just taking their leftover fluoride. Oh, look, there's loads now. Let's give it to Canada.
Yeah, no, it's somebody got made a deal, a backhanded deal, and uh, people made this and allowed it to come in. They put the vote out to people, and I mean, we're still doing it in our teeth for when we're going to the dentist. They're still doing that. They're still giving you mercury. So I mean, we're in the Stone Ages here. I don't understand why we
I know. I had a dental nurse argue with me a few weeks ago because I declined fluoride, and I felt like saying to her, "Sorry, do you know who I am? Because I wouldn't go into this conversation if I was you." She was literally trying to convince me I needed fluoride. No, I'm fine, thanks. But
yeah,
like it is a halogen. It does attach to the pineal gland, and there's mountains of literature showing that fluoride will directly impair thyroid function.
yeah,
You mean there it does make you think there's another agenda at hand here.
yeah. Well, it's foolishness, and I mean, where is the protest for that? I mean, it's going to erode the health right away in everything you drink.
Yeah, I know. Once it's in, then even if you were to, I know Dr. Bob Dixon out of Calgary's been doing a lot of work, and they have Safe Water Calgary, and I've had him on the podcast twice, and they have a petition and everything. But the problem is, once they put it in now, it's going to take years to get it back out if they will agree to take it back out. So we're all going to move to Cochrane, Dr. Dahl. We'll all be neighbors.
Well, come on down.
What's the property market like out there?
That's pretty good. It's a nice place,
It's
but it's getting too
beautiful.
busy.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there.
Yeah.
So thanks for the explanation there on the glandular. And like I said, I use it with all of my clients. If it's ever sold out in Airdrie, that's usually why. And then I have people asking me, will I pick it up when I go into Calgary for them? But you have another two glands that not many people are aware of. The thymus gland, which honestly most people don't even know what the thymus gland is. And then you
Well,
have an adrenal one.
yeah, we do. But with the thyroid. So we have a thyroidine, and the thyroidine has kelp. So it has the iodine from kelp,
Hmm.
and it also has zinc picolinate.
Yep.
And so that is the thyroidine product. Then the thyromoto, because it treats autoimmune disorders, that has zinc picolinate as well. It also has selenium,
Hmm.
and it also has some iron. Now, the iron and selenium is because people with autoimmune disorders, at least 30% are are deficient in these, so they are anemic.
Hmm.
This is why iron is very important for those that are with autoimmune disorder, and selenium as well. So that formula is for those with autoimmune disorders, those thyroidine on so with the iodine is for those that do not have that. And what I do, I take one thyroidine for 1 month, and I take thyromoto for the next month. And so I get the benefits of the iron, selenium, and the benefits of the extra iodine this
Hmm.
way. So I think it works out really, really well.
Yeah.
And then, yes, you are right. We do have the other glands. We have adrenal gland. Now, adrenal gland works hand in hand with the thyroid gland.
Yeah.
You should not treat the thyroid without treating the adrenal glands, because this is what is your messenger. And so your adrenal glands is where you create the cortisol. And so this is what we have to realize when people are on a thyroid program, especially starting out and especially getting off any medication for thyroid, that you need to support your adrenals at the same time.
Hmm.
And
If
so
I'm, sorry to
I,
interrupt. If
I
I'm
recommend
ever,
first thing in the morning for your thyroid when your temperatures are the right amount, when you take it probably around 8 No, well, before you eat,
Hmm.
breakfast.
Hmm.
And then your adrenals you can take with your breakfast and lunch, and you'll see quite a difference with our adrenal glands. It really gives you energy, and so I wouldn't take it past 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I was going to say, I was rude of me to interrupt. I have a bad habit of doing that. Um, I'm so glad that you said that because so many people will discuss, for lack of a better word, adrenal dysfunction is a hot topic. And
It
I'm
is.
forever saying, look, the adrenals and the thyroid, they're like sisters. If something happens to one, it happens to the other. If one goes down, the other's going down. Like if you feel you've adrenal issues, you most likely have thyroid issues, and vice versa. And anytime I even start to consider any sort of thyroid therapy with a client, I'm always prioritizing their sleep first to support the adrenals, and then we go from there. But I'm so glad that you said that because people just think the adrenals work in isolation and it's just my adrenals and I'm having a problem with my adrenals. The end. That's how narrow-minded people have become in regards to this.
Yeah, no, it's a lack of education. I mean, because our endocrine system works in such a way that our gland, our pituitary gland, one of the master glands, it communicates, and so it's told from our thyroid, hey, come on, wake up. I need some thyroid. I don't, thyroid. No, it doesn't say thyroid. It needs, but it should say that. No, it says my thyroxine levels are low, and so the pituitary will signal down, hey, adrenals, what are you doing? How come you're not producing cortisol? Because the thyroid needs, so produce it. Come on, let's get going. So and so if your adrenals are low functioning,
Mm-hmm.
and so you have adrenal fatigue. So what you're doing is now you're pushing out adrenaline, and the adrenaline is now draining, and your adrenal glands is the gland with the highest amount of vitamin C.
Mm-hmm.
And so your vitamin C is your immune system, right? Part of
Mm-hmm.
your immune system. So it starts draining your vitamin C levels. And then again, the pituitary signals down again because it's not getting what it needs. It's a signal. And then it just starts to affect the ovaries and the testes and the hormones. So it affects the sex hormones.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all because you don't have your thyroid functioning and you don't have your glands in order.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you start to understand how the endocrine system works and how the communication network works, and then you give it what it has need of when you're supporting the thyroid, you support the adrenals. And I always recommend taking the HGH2, which is pituitary, thyroid, and adrenal, and insulin in a homeopathic form. So that's a balancer of your endocrine system. It's great for all ages, and it has no interaction with any drug.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my go-to product for anyone, children, adults that have a thyroid or a hormonal imbalance
So what's in
of
the
some way.
adrenals? What do you have in your adrenal product?
Well, the adrenals, we have zinc, and we have the adrenal gland.
And vitamin C as well.
Yeah, we have the ascorbate, the vitamin C ascorbate. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is a perfect segue to the next section. And, I'm so glad again that you said it. It was a powerful line there that I hope people picked up on. You said the adrenals store vitamin C, and you said vitamin C supports the immune system. When do most people get sick? It's after they've been very stressed and now all of a sudden they're sick because their burn rate has increased. And I really try to help people recognize if anything's going to make you sick, it's going to be a lot of stress, for
Right.
sure, for me. So then that brings us to the thymus gland, which is another product of yours. And the thymus gland would be what we would consider the gland of the immune system.
It is your T cells. Yeah, it's extremely important for building T cells. And your T cells is as you're in your puberty and when you grow, your thymus gland is big. It's quite large. It's the size of maybe a baseball or something. It's a good size depending on the age and the size of the person, but in relation to the body. And this gives you immune system, tremendous. When a child gets sick, a couple of days, they're back out running again.
Yeah.
They just bounce right back because their T cells are just firing. And they can see the innate immune system, the adaptive immune system. It starts giving it's not confused. It doesn't have Alzheimer's, where it starts attacking itself. So it doesn't. It's active, it's quick, and it works. And then as we age, it starts to get 30 and 40, your thymus gland starts to turn to fat. And then your T cells start to be built in your femur, your long bones, and your T cells are from there. And then your thymus shrinks up, but it's still active. You don't pull it out, because the doctors were thinking that they could just cut the thymus out when they're doing operations in the heart, and it just wrinkled up. But they found out that after they did that, people would get very sick. So that little thymus gland, even though it's wrinkled and it's looking like some some old fruit, don't touch it. Leave it alone. If you give it the thymus, like from ovine, which ours is from ovine, from some sheep, then that one will support that and start to speak to it. It will communicate with that gland and give it what it has need of. It'll come back to life. It actually does. I mean, well, I used to use it for all my AIDS patients.
Wow.
And build up their T cell count right away. You could just watch it with a blood test. And then we for all my cancer patients, they would be on 12 thymus a day.
Wow.
You hit it hard without glycine. You hit it hard with the glycogen levels, and then high vitamin C, anywhere from 20 to 30,000 milligrams a day of pure vitamin C, and you just start seeing the test results come back and the tumors shrink. I mean, it's if you give the body what it needs, the body can heal itself.
Back
That's
to
what
what
it
our
is.
ancestors were doing. They knew that if you consumed organs from animals, which thousands of years ago were a lot cleaner than they are now, but they knew that there would be some sort of mimicry there, that we would be able to utilize those glands in our body.
Well, yeah, they have the same DNA and RNA structure. You can't get that from plants. I mean, if you look at all the thyroid support products out there, ashwagandha is, the miracle product of the century.
Holy Grail, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think ashwagandha. Oh my gosh.
I'm the same. I'm like, I don't see the benefits of this in my clients, so I don't recommend it that much.
Oh, we don't put it in our products because I don't see the benefit. I mean, if you only put those products out there when you can't get the real thing.
But lucky we can now.
Now we can, yeah. Well, now we can, and so this is why I think it's so very, very important when you have these products on the market that we utilize it. Naturopaths hardly know anything about glands anymore.
Yeah. Nobody
They're not
talks
being
about them
taught.
that much. Yeah.
No, they're not being taught.
Yeah.
And I mean, thyroid gland used to be prescribed all the time. Now it's synthroid.
Yeah.
And we used to have adrenal gland, and now it's cortisol or cortisone, corticosteroids. And then we used to give adrenal gland, and now they're giving all kind of other stuff. Again, like I say, it's cortisones and shots and everything you go in now. It seems to be steroids, corticosteroids. And then the pancreas, of course, they give insulin now. And say we used to have ovaries and testes in glandular forms, and of course now they're giving pregnant urine,
Progestions. Yep.
pregnant urine for hormone replacement therapy for women
Mhm.
from pregnant mares. And
Yeah.
so we replaced that, and because no one remembers how the medicine used to be, they just go along with it. And the naturopath's the same.
Mhm.
And I have to train a lot of these naturopaths and just say, you got to go back to where your roots are.
I felt like over the last few years, that big pharma got to a lot of the naturopaths, especially when I saw a lot of naturopaths recommending people go get the jabs. And I was like, hold on, that doesn't sound quite right. And then I started to see naturopaths, like you said, recommending Synthroid over even desiccated thyroid. And I just smelt something was rotten there. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, the colleges have to have, I think, a government official on their board of directors now, College of Naturopath. And also, if you look at the sponsors of the schools, they are owned by pharma, the,
Yeah.
the supplement companies. And there's very few supplement companies that are not pharma owned anymore.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you don't see it, and they don't say it, but Nestle, Pfizer, all these are owning all these big companies.
Yeah. You pull
And
back that curtain and you see the old Wizard of Oz there
oh,
pulling the
it
strings.
is,
Yeah.
and that's the big deception. And once they take over, of course, the quality goes down, and their shareholders' interests become the most important.
So I just want to circle back to the thymus for a minute, if you don't mind. Well, not really. One, for people who are curious, because people do like to know, the thymus is under the breastbone. Am I correct? So
Yeah.
under here, if you were looking at it. And then you mentioned the T cells in the femur. That's a new one for me. Can you just elaborate on that a bit? So
Well,
that's
that's
been
where
made in the bone marrow.
it's been made in the bone marrow, right? And so your T cells come from your long bones, and your thymus shrinks up to fat. And then, so this is why when you see someone that's a little older and they have osteoporosis or something like that, and they break their femur, that they are no longer producing T cells.
Huh.
And then what happens is you'll usually see them succumb to pneumonia
Mm,
because the T cells form, they get pleurisy, and then their lungs fill up, and then they suffocate. And this is because the T cells are not producing properly in the long bones because it's been broken. And then so this we're finding a lot of problems today with blood disorders.
hmm
And the T cells is one of the main thing. And the T cells, your pineal gland is also part of the whole thing. But it all works together. Your glands, and when they plaque over, like it becomes plaquing over, and this gland becomes wrinkled, and your other glands become non-functioning. Well, then you're real rough shape. You can't build yourself. You can't treat a symptom of the disease and expect to have recovery. You got to go back to where the core is, where it's breaking down. And I always say the first is treat your endocrine system, bring it into a state of balance, and get rid of the metals.
hmm
Clear out the metals.
Yeah.
It's extremely important to clear out the toxins, get your endocrine system going, and then you can start working on your well, you should be working on your gut, of course, at the same time, because the gut is all part of the cleansing process.
hmm
And this is where your bedding ground of disease is the gut, the human gut.
Yeah. So if the femur is so important and the bones in general are super important, then it would make sense that exercise and putting some sort of force on the bones and lifting heavy things would be very beneficial to support your immune system.
Well, you should be walking every day, so many steps a day.
Yeah.
You should be taking the proper forms of minerals that absorb to the bone, not that plaque the bone.
Hmm.
And so this is extremely important. It's just so difficult. I found out last week that I was trying to buy our raw materials for our Optical mag complex and phoned this supplier and I was trying to get our orotates because we use orotates,
Hmm.
so nucleic acid bound to calcium and magnesium.
Hmm.
Well, it doesn't plaque the arteries, right? It doesn't plaque, and it absorbs pretty well 100% like food.
Hmm.
And they were saying, well, Dr. Dahl, you're the only one that buys this product. I said, in all the United States, I'm the only our company is the only one that buys orotates.
Hmm.
Yep. What a shame that is.
Hmm.
I mean, I formulated this whole uh, brand, the whole Optical around orotates because what it does, it won't plaque the pineal gland, won't plaque your heart. It actually will take away the plaque off your arteries and reabsorb it as usable. If you look into orotates, it's just tremendous. Uh, yeah, yeah, Dr. Napier from Germany, the research he did for 10 to 15 years on orotates, no one's ever heard of him, but
Hmm.
brilliant scientist. I've been using this stuff for 25, 30 years because there's nothing like it. No one knows about it. No one knows about it. So they'll
Hmm.
go use a gluconate and they'll use all this other and buy what's on sale. Calcium is calcium, right?
Hmm.
No.
No.
And so this is why you need a good calcium for strengthening your bones and your long bones. So if you have followed our newsletter, you'll see
Hmm.
that a few weeks back we were showing that they were doing these studies and they were discovering that people were taking 12 to 1400 milligrams of calcium a day and they were developing osteoporosis because it's the form it wasn't absorbing, plaquing their arteries and their pineal gland and their brain. So they're getting Alzheimer's because of this is the worst part. They're actually taking things to improve their health, they think, and they're actually damaging their health.
Hmm. And then it's a catch-22 because people are thinking, but if I don't take something, I'm damaging my health.
Right. And that is true because the lack of quality education up there is minimal because if they don't make it, they don't want to talk about it. Or maybe
Mhm.
they don't even know about it.
Maybe, yeah.
It's a business. It's not a business of health. It's just a business.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be.
No, it's not. It's not. There's a big financial component, as you know. So we're coming up on time now.
Okay.
And I wanted to just, if you have a minute, go back to what we were discussing before we pressed record. One of your other very popular products, and we don't have to go into the full list of benefits or anything, but DMSO. It's a hot topic right now. We mentioned Dr. Mercola, who's on a DMSO vibe lately.
DMSO is, I would call it's a miracle product. It's a gift to humanity. And every home should have DMSO in their home for what it does. It's DMSO is what they classify as a class 3 chemical. It is inert. It can interact with any component that it's mixed with. And it's so they use it for delivery of, say, chemotherapy. They use it for a lot of drug therapies. DMSO is used for cryonics to preserve organs because it doesn't damage the tissues.
Mm.
DMSO is a transporter. So when you put it on your skin, it will go through the skin into the bloodstream. You'll taste it as a garlic taste within 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds. So that's how quickly it can pass the dermal barriers
Mm.
and go directly in. DMSO is was first discovered for burns.
Mm.
So the fellow was working on a machine. He had a third-degree burn on his hand. He put his hand directly into the DMSO, and he had no pain within a matter of seconds. And when he took his hand out, there was no redness and there was no scar tissue. It should have been third-degree burns.
Yeah.
And I proved it over and over again in the kitchen. If I burn myself, I go grab it, put it on. Pain's gone, and there's no burn or scar tissue.
Mm.
And so it could be used in the winter, put on extremities, your feet and your hands. If you're going outside, your tissues will not freeze. You won't get frostbite. They've
Okay.
used it for Arctic expeditions.
Mm.
And so when you mix DMSO, and I like to do this, and I'll throw this out to your team. When you take DMSO, you take it in a liquid, and then you put a little bit of our non-GMO vitamin C in there. And then you mix that, and you put it on any area your body would have, maybe have a little bit of a growth, or you may have a little scar tissue here. Takes the vitamin C directly into that scar tissue or into this growth. Or if you can let your imagination run wild where you would put that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also add to it other things like our neurotransmitter support for the brain. So you put that in your palm of your hand with DMSO, you rub it on your temples. Goes right to your brain. And he's like, I don't know if you ever tried neurotransmitter support before. Have you ever tried it?
No, I haven't, but I've done the likes of binaural beats and stuff a lot and heart rate variable work, but not that.
Oh, neural. Well, once you try that, you'll want me on the show. For what it does for the brain, it just opens up synapses of the brain. And when you take two or three, you'll just the first time you try it, you'll see the difference. First time will open up your synapses of the brain. We get people that have stroke patients and people that have been unconscious for quite a while, and then they take the neuro and their brain activity just starts to fire.
Wow,
So it's quite an amazing
that is
formula.
impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you use DMSO, so anything you take the DMSO and mix it with.
Mm.
So it takes it directly. So the thymus gland you can take when you have a tumor or you have this lump or you have something here, and it works.
Are you only applying it topically?
Well, that's all we're allowed to do. Mercola tells you you can take it anywhere you want, but we can't because we're licensed in Canada.
Yeah.
And so we recommend, well, because if you put it on your skin, it's in the bloodstream within 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty about taking it this way, kill the pain. It'll kill your pain, like diabetic neuropathy. If you have diabetic neuropathy, where you have the pins and needles on your extremity,
What about gout? Would it help with
it
gout?
works wonderful for gout.
Oh.
Yeah,
Topically,
any joint
topically on,
pains,
yeah.
any joint pains. We have a boron product that has 1,000 milligrams of turmeric with the boron, 3.36 milligrams. I don't know if you know about what boron and turmeric
Yeah.
can do
And for the
for,
bones, yeah.
for the cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were recommended by the cancer clinic to bring it in. We did. I can't go into more detail on that, but it is tremendous. So you mix that with DMSO, and then you put that on a localized spot. You're taking this directly into the cell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is real cool science.
What about one last question? Because I know you have to go. Applying DMSO around the thyroid for nodules or cysts or anything like that.
Beautiful.
Huh.
Yeah, put it with the vitamin C. Yep, just put it right there. Take it down, or you can even put it with our Progest liposome cream.
This has been fascinating. So this has been awesome. So thank you. I think everyone will love this. Really great, Dr. Dahl. Powerful stuff here, you know?
Well, I mean, you got to work with what you got. And so we got some very, very powerful things. And if you combine them, and then if you have a product like DMSO to transport it, I mean, it's a gift. I can't tell you enough. If people get behind that and real start looking into it, I did a couple newsletters on it just to give you an idea how powerful this can be, especially if you're a practitioner. Oh my Lord. And if you understand how the body works.
You need to make some sort of lotion that has DMSO and vitamin C and something else in it for like stretch marks and loose skin. That would be a big seller.
It probably would be.
I've got some people that they're already buying it and you haven't even made it.
Yeah, no, it it's one thing to make it, then it's another thing to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because we're bound to our license and what we can say on our label claim.
Hmm.
Do you think I would have this? I would have a conversation with you if I wasn't restricted on what I could say.
Mm.
Oh,
Imagine that.
we would have a nice conversation. Just
Yeah.
trust me.
Like we do offline. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's some tremendous things here.
That's yeah.
Pharma gets nervous if they start hearing this stuff.
Yeah, we think we have free speech, but we don't. There's always blockages somewhere, even though we're given the illusion that we can say what we want now on social media and all. We still can't.
Oh no. Well, not. I mean, you can say it if you have nothing that they can take from you.
Yeah.
But with our company, we have to tread carefully, walk on eggshells.
Mm. Eggshells, another great source of calcium, by the way. Well,
They are.
this has been fantastic. Unless you want to say anything else, I think we've covered quite a lot, Dr. Dahl.
Well, I think they'll be swimming in with all that information if they go back and listen to it. There's a
You
lot of
need to
nuggets.
you need to get those shelves restocked fast before I publish this.
Well, we're trying. I mean, we're good with thyroid. We're good with thyroid. I just got my adrenal gland in the raw materials this morning
Great.
from New Zealand, so I'm happy with that. We have thymus. We've got all our glands. It's just the DMSO that we're out of, but they're both being made. It's just a
Yes.
matter of putting it through and getting it made and into our warehouse. So we should have that soon. Uh, we'll have claw with medicinal grade EDTA.
Mm.
So it pulls out the metals. It'll be out hopefully by the end of this week. And I think the people that will benefit by this.
Mm-hmm.
And we have it sold as a kit. It's a detox kit.
Great.
And it's sold with our OptiCal mag because when you pull out the metals and you pull out the inorganic minerals, it's indiscriminate what it takes out.
You
It'll
need
take
to.
out the good and the bad, and
Mm-hmm.
you must replace the good so you prevent the healing crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And so we combine those two together,
Mm-hmm.
and it is taken one bottle for every 10 years of your life. So if you're 40, you would take 4 claw, and you would take OptiCal. We're recommending 2 twice a day of the OptiCal. But what a difference.
Mm.
When you take this product, what a difference.
I'm gonna be looking out for that claw now.
Oh yeah, no, you'll like it. Your breathing will improve. It takes the plaque off your arteries. It pulls the metals, and it's done in a gentle way so it doesn't impact your kidneys and bladder and your liver. So
Well, Dr. Dahl, if you ever need someone to go to New Zealand to pick up your raw materials, you know where to find me. I'm more than
I'll
happy
give
to
you a
go.
call.
Thank you for your time today. This has been really, really amazing. We'll be in touch soon. I'm looking forward to trying out Claw. Maybe we'll do a catch up on that in a few months, see how it's going. But thank you for your time today. Enjoy the beautiful weather. If you can, go out for a walk.
Thank you. I'll try to do that.
All right. Thank you, and we'll chat soon.
Okay, bye for now.